event, our 8th annual. Let's give it up to all of our inductees for this afternoon. I want to thank all of you for taking time out from your busy Sundays to come on out for the Friends of Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame event, our 8th annual. Let's give it up to all of our inductees for this afternoon. So I want to call them out individually real quick just to know what our order is for this afternoon. Our Hall of Fame inductees on this beautiful October afternoon will be Bill Rule, Carol Okoren. That's right, give it up, Mr. Rule, he deserves it. Carol Okoren. Alan Schmidt. Passalaqua, Waligurski, Weisbecker, Mr. Mike White, Mr. Adam Mires, Diglio, Dickover, and the 2011 Middletown High School 4x400 meter relay team. Those are our Section 9 inductees this afternoon, and you're going to be hearing all about them a little bit later in the program. At this time, we'd like to acknowledge the people who do all of the hard work behind the scenes, and that would be the Board of Directors. I'm going to ask for each of them to stand up, and if you can hold your applause until the very end of the introductions, that would be great. We have President Jim Glover, Vice President Wendy Warnock, Treasurer Kevin Stewart, Secretary Ann Creeden, Malcolm Burks, Rich Furst, Frank Giannino, Dave Goggins, Gus Lawson, Brian Creeden, and Greg Rafferty. Let's give them all a great round of applause. My name is Estrada. I will be your MC this afternoon, but I'm the least important of everybody else that's in the room right now. But it's been my honor over the last several years to be the MC of this event. I'm a former track and field runner from Middletown, graduated back in 1984. I hate to admit that, but nevertheless, that's the facts of life. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Jim Glover, the president of the Friends of Section 9 Hall of Fame, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance this afternoon.
Greetings. Thank you. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, that won't work. Good afternoon. My name is Jim Glover. I'm the current president of the Friends of Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame. And on behalf of my fellow board members, I would like to welcome all of you as we join together to honor the class of 2025. This is our 8th annual banquet, and each one has shown us the amazing diversity of talent and achievement that our area has produced. We honor our athletes, their coaches, their officials, and those that through their actions and deeds have helped make Section 9 athletics better for all of our athletes and their programs. A little about Section 9. Section 9, as you know, is made up of the counties of Orange, Sullivan, Ulster, and parts of Dutchess. And up until 1986, Rockland County was part of Section 9. They left us to join Section 1, and that legacy lives on with 3 of our current Hall of Fame coaches who were standout athletes for Section 9. Section 9 has a rich and incredible history of contributions to the sports of track and field and cross country. They continue to excel at the state and national level, and future Hall of Famers are still being forged. So the future of Section 9 looks very bright. And so enjoy today's presentations. I look forward to hearing from all of our inductees, and I want to thank all of you for coming. We appreciate it. It's a great organization. We really work hard to make this the very best that we can be. So thank you very much. Big round of applause for our inductees.
Thank you, Jim. And now I'd like to invite up, I can hear the ringing of the salad forks, but nevertheless, God is on our side this afternoon. We're going to invite up Mr. Dave Billings for our invocation this afternoon.
Well, I'm one of those from Nyack, which means Rockland County, back in '72, just so you know. I'm also a local pastor, so how many of you need a blessing today? Anyone need a blessing? Yeah, okay. That's why I'm here, to bless the food and to bless you. So let's do that. Please close your eyes, let's pray. God's word says to us today, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So today we rejoice. We rejoice that we can be in this place to both recognize and celebrate those who are being inducted into the Friends of Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame. We also say thank you to the Hall of Fame Board of Directors for all that they do in bringing this event together. And we are glad to be in this place and to meet and to eat. And so, Lord, we thank you and ask you to bless Walk Hill Golf Club and their staff for serving us. Lastly, we ask, Lord, to bless this meal before us and use us to bless others. These things I pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Let's give Mr. Billings a nice round of applause. He does on vacation each and every year. So at this time, what we'd like to do is to recognize those who are in attendance and our past Hall of Fame inductees. So if we can ask each person as I announce your name, please stand up and get acknowledged. Once again, these are our past inductees into the Hall of Fame. Mr. Lou Hall. Mr. Tim St. Lawrence. Our own Rich Furst. Mr. Malcolm Burks. Dawn Creeden. Mr. Frank Giannino. Mr. Ken Gary. And the first ever New York State champion for Monticello and cross country, Mr. Leo Glass. So congratulations once again. And now we're going to get our program started. Our first inductee here in 2025 will be Mr. Bill Wool, and Mr. Dave Goggins will come up to the podium to make the introductions. Dave.
Thank you, Ed. Good afternoon, everybody. While I was starting out as an official, Bill Wool was celebrating his 15th anniversary as a track official. And he was an officer in the Southern Catskill Track Officials Association. He kept track of our finances, collected dues, paid the bills, and kept us informed of tests and meetings as Secretary-Treasurer. This all occurred after 15 years of coaching football and track. Bill took other officials under his wing, shepherding them in the techniques of officiating all the field events and start and finish. He coached many of us in the art of starting. He was my go-to resource for how to manage fair competition, how to teach athletes respect for, and how to operate within the rules, and he eventually taught me and others how to referee efficiently, both at dual and championship meets. In recent years, Bill did not show any hesitancy to act as a role model in standing up for fair meat management practices, which would have resulted in more emphasis on the importance of establishing both pre-meet guidelines set by the Games Committee and clearly delineating the makeup of the jury of appeals. Personally speaking, another great achievement of Bill was saying yes when I asked him to partner with me in the Wednesday night men's league right here at the Watkell Golf Club, committing to drive down from High Falls for 5 months every year. Although he's a wee bit older than me, just a wee bit, he regularly outdrives me by 20 yards or more, and has done this year what he does in all of his endeavors, getting better as time goes by. It is my pleasure and privilege to present my friend and mentor, Bill Rule, for induction into the Friends of Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame. Bill, come on up. And for those of you that are officials, you know that the State Track Officials Association moves at glacial speed. He's been officiating for 45 years, and I have the privilege of giving you your 45-year pin from Jim McCall. Very unusually in the year that you earned it. Lots of time this takes several years to accomplish. There you go, Bill. And this is your...
Put it down and say what I want to say. I want a winning lottery number. Does everybody have that? No volunteers, huh? Fallback position. On behalf of myself and my family, congratulations to this year's inductees and thank you to the Hall of Fame. Looking at the members of the Section 9 Hall of Fame, I'm humbled to join the individual athletes, teams, coaches, contributors, and officials already here. When David notified me of the selection, I told him I was speechless. Most of you know that's not normal for me. The list of member officials in the Hall includes those who have set the standard for track and field officials in Section 9 and beyond. I was trained and mentored by some of those people already in the Hall. I trained with some of them, and I helped train others. That's what happens when you stick around long enough in a sport. Some in this room probably already know what I mean. One example might be Mike White. I asked his permission to use his name. Mike was actually a student athlete when I coached at Waligurski, so we've been around for a while. That is a positive, not a negative. He became a coach, and now he is training the next generation of coaches. I chose a different path. When I left coaching, I moved to officiating because I still loved the sport and wanted to continue to contribute in some way. The beauty and strength of track and field is the competition, as in all sports. But track is different. You're part of a team effort to win a meet, but you're more often alone when you compete. It's you against the clock, as well as other competitors. If you're running in field events, it's you and the implement, the pole, the bar in front of you, the takeoff board. Always trying to put all the pieces of technique together to do your best. You can know the happiness of setting a PR, even if you do not win the event. but you also feel disappointment if the team loses. It's a mixed bag of emotions. I find officiating to be somewhat the same. If you're officiating and you're not rooting inside for every athlete to do well, you're missing the joy of the job. Watching someone do well in their event and the smile it brings them is a great feeling. It doesn't matter what the athlete's age is. A middle schooler's enthusiasm is no different than that of a 90-year-old senior. I saw a senior woman once at a senior event wearing pearl necklace, pearl earrings, in the 100. And in that event, she was just as gleeful as any ninth grader that you might see or a younger athlete. Her peers cheered her on to the finish line. I won't mention her time, but she needed to know right away because she told us it was her last race as a competitor. And she had bet her husband she would set PR. She did. I have no idea what the bet was. At the same time, an official has the responsibility of enforcing the rules fairly for all the competitors. No official wants to disqualify an athlete. That's especially true, I believe, if you have participated in the sport yourself, or coached, or both. As my late friend and fellow Hall member Ken Burkhardt once said, if an athlete violates the rules impacting an event and is not disqualified, another athlete is punished. How is that fair? That's the mixed bag of emotions. You want the athletes to do well, but at the same time you want a fair competition, and sometimes that means you have to disqualify an athlete. You're rooting for all the athletes to do the best that they can, and you try not to disqualify. If there's a violation, though, there's no option. We know that ruins a day for the athlete, but it doesn't make our day either. In closing, this is a roundabout way to get to a point. We need officials in all sports, but I'm advocating for track and field and cross country because obviously this is the audience for it. Our association numbers are dwindling for a number of reasons. Age, lack of respect for the profession, even by some who should know better. The difficulty of mastering the rules for 17 plus events, family responsibilities, job responsibilities, and any number of other reasons. But I would ask you to consider becoming an official at some point to benefit the sport and the athletes who participate in it. The sport can get better with your involvement. You know what it takes to be successful. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here. Again, my thanks and my appreciation to the Hall.
Some of our athletes, our individual athletes who will be getting an award, in addition to the athlete getting an award, the respective school district also gets a plaque to hang at their respective high schools as well. And we'll read those inscriptions as they go along. Let's hear it once again. Mr. Bill Rule, our newest member, and to the Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame. Our next inductee is Ms. Carol Okoren. And coming out now to the microphone to introduce Carol and to tell us a little bit about her accomplishments is Patrick Burkhardt.
I'd like to thank the Section 9 Hall of Fame Committee for all the work that they do, acknowledging and honoring all the athletes, coaches, and the officials. This is a huge undertaking, and a lot of other sports have Hall of Fames. It's really nice to see all the work that they're doing to acknowledge our athletes of the MHAL in Orange County and Section 9. I have the honor of presenting for Carol Okoren. She coached for 39 years at Onteora and is one of the winningest coaches in our school history. She coached many sports, including volleyball, field hockey, but she's most known for coaching track and field. Carol started what was called the Play Days before girls were allowed to compete in athletics in New York State. She would organize the Play Days between other schools, so obviously the precursor to competing at the sectional and the state level. She was a hard coach. Athletes absolutely respected her, and other coaches respected her. She won MHAL and UCAL titles numbering over 15 of them. I had the honor of coaching with Carol for 9 years. We won the MHAL track championships 9 years in a row. Having known Carol and worked with her for so long, she was more than just a coach. She was a mentor and a colleague and a friend, and it's an honor to accept this award on her behalf. And I'd like to call up longtime Onsior boys coach Mike Boms to accept the award with me. Also, by a show of hands of all the coaches in the room, who's been thrown out of the infield by Bill Rule? That's the mark of a Hall of Fame official. Congratulations, Bill.
To introduce our next inductee, Mr. Al Schmidt.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see everybody here. Al Schmidt, what do you say about Al? He's always smiling, right? He is one of the happiest, friendliest coaches. The athletes, the other coaches, they're jealous. But in all honesty, he has been doing track and field since 1971. He started, of course, in Pine Bush as a little modified runner. Went on to college, continued running. Knew he wanted to be a coach way back when. And has been an awesome coach for Pine Bush. Numerous, you can read through, numerous champions that have gone on nationally, gone on to college as well, and performed at great levels. Still keeps in touch with many of them, and many have come to support him as well as former coaches. So, as I was talking to some of your athletes here, I understand there's a number of Schmidtisms that you like to say. So we're going to get a couple of those out of the way. It's great to be in shape. I like that one. I like being in shape. Who doesn't, right? Last one, fast one. That's a great one, Coach. Who else has one for me?
I think we gave them all to you, but it does it once.
Oh, so there's two? There are more. I heard you run fast and turn left. Right? We've all heard that. Coach, what should I do? Run fast, turn left. What else have we got?
Use your arm.
Yeah. Who hasn't heard that, right? Use your arms. Your legs will only move as fast as your arms, right? Gotta use your arms. So, without further ado, Al Schmidt, now up at Bethel Woods representing. Please come up. Coach Al Schmidt, 1982 to 2022. That's a long time. OCL Outdoor Champions, 1998. OCL Indoor Champions, 2002. State Champion, 800-meter relay. State Champions, 3,200-meter relay, 2008. 748.51. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, Wendy, for the kind words. I'd like to also congratulate all the inductees. It's been an honor, it's been a privilege to be inducted with certain individuals who've shown the promise to be on the next level. It's very important that I got inducted with Adam Mires, one of my truly favorite athletes that I coached. Mike White, who I also ran against and coached against. But I received this award as a team award, not just me. Over the years, I had to have people that I coached with, people that I coached, that if they weren't there, I wouldn't be here. John Salvador I coached with for 30 years. While he wasn't here, we worked as a team. Jerry Risco was a junior my first year of coaching. Him and I also coached for 30 years together. My college coach, Coach Richard Coleman, who I stole the saying from, "Ain't it great to be in shape?" But you had to use that at a certain time. You had to wait until the kids were halfway through the interval workout, when their hands are on their knees, they're looking for oxygen, and you say, "Ain't it great to be in shape?" And they can't answer you back. The most important person as far as my coaching career, who I would not be standing here, was without Dan Brown. There, in my book, there's a Mount Rushmore of Section 9 coaches. That would be Coach Hall, Coach St. Lawrence, Coach Jessup, Coach Gary, Coach Delmonico, and I believe I learned from more than once on Mount Rushmore, which would be Coach Brown. What he taught me as an athlete, as a runner, as an individual, as a person, will never be forgotten. I cannot thank that man enough. I would also like to thank my wife, and everybody knows who's coached for many years, if your spouse isn't on the same page, you're in trouble. So for 40 years, she put up with me being home late on Saturdays, not being away on Friday nights, being up at West Point. So I thank her for that. Some of the accomplishments that we achieved together as a team. In 1994, Dougie Schuchner won the pole vault at the state meet in Buffalo, jumped 15 feet. The reason he did that is because Dan Brown took him down to North Rockland at least once a week to train with Coach Dahl down there. And that's why he won the state meet. Again, Coach Brown had his fingers on us. In 1998, we won the OCL championship by a horrific effort by Adam Mires. He won the 800, the mile, the 2 mile, and angular 4x8. He gave us everything he had. It was 900 degrees out that day, and our trainer kept putting him under the table, icing him down like a racehorse, and putting him back on the track again. That meet came down to the mile relay. From a Coach St. Lawrence team that was not giving up. We had to finish at least in the top 3 in that mile relay to win the conference that night. And when that relay come across the line, oh my God, I've been coaching since 1982. In 1998, we won our first championship. What a tremendous feeling. A couple years later, we won the OCL championship indoors in 2002 with, again, a great distance crew by Josh Conklin, Joey Morstadt, Pete Musing, and Carl Coles. Those individuals were also All-American in the 4x8 that year during the winter. Excuse me, I got cards. I know many coaches have many cards because it's what we used to use. In 2007, we won the 4x8 at the state championship. I was very fortunate, and again, coaching is a lot of luck. We had gone the year before and made the championship. We made the last seat in the final in the 800 meter relay. The first 3 teams in the relay crashed and burned, so we ended up getting 3rd, which we were not the 3rd fastest team in the state that year, but we ended up finishing 3rd. Next year we come back, 2 legs were gone. I had Celestino and I had Brian Hilario still. Xavier Brown stepped into the picture, and Will Loeb transferred back to Pine Bush. So sometimes luck pays attention to it, and we were lucky he came back to Pine Bush. We ended up winning. Coach Dan Harrison was sitting next to me. I said, I can't watch the final. He goes, why? I said, because top seeds last year, all 3 of them crashed and burned. We were the top seed going to the final. Thank the Lord, handoffs went well, and we won the championship. They were fed in state champs. They were also All-American in the SMR and in the 4x8. 2008, state championships again up at Buffalo. Buffalo's been good to Pine Bush. 4x8, we had run a week. We got invited to a meet down at Icon Stadium where the kids on the team got to saw Usain Bolt set the world record in the 100 for the first time. We're down there, 4x8, Shenandoah beats us. A couple weeks later, state meet comes. Same scenario, only Xavier Brown is much closer to the Shenandoah kid than he was at Icon Stadium. Last straightaway, Xavier Brown goes flying by him. We win the state championship. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was yelling so loud, I almost passed out. Indoor that next year, Xavier Brown won the 600. So Xavier Brown has 3 state championships, 1 to 4x2, 1 to 4x8, and 1 to 600. And he was a charm to watch. My goal with Xavier Brown, don't hurt him. Don't hurt him. The individuals at the table over there, I really have respect for. Coach Lawrence, Coach Delmonico, Coach DeMarco, Coach Ranahan. The program is in great shape. Great shape. They're doing a fantastic job there, and I'm really happy that they took the program over. Rich Esposito and my son are coaching at Middletown. What a fantastic goal it is to have coached a couple of years with my son at Pine Bush. That was a fantastic feeling. I've been really fortunate and blessed, and again, it was a total team effort. There's no way I would be standing here today without the individuals I've talked about and all the individuals that ran for me. They're a special group. Once you put a Pine Bush jersey on, you're Pine Bush family for life. One last thing I got to say, last one, fastest one. Thank you, Bill.
So we asked Coach to go over to this side if any family members would like to join him as well. And the plaque that's going to be headed over to Pine Bush High School. Yep, give it up for Coach Al Schmidt. The plaque, and we're going to hand off the plaque for Pine Bush a little later because there are other inductees this afternoon from Pine Bush. But the section of the plaque for Pine Bush in regards to Coach Al says 1982 to 2022 OCL Outdoor Champions in 1998 and OCL Indoor Champions in 2002. Once again, Mr. Al Schmidt. And next up, I'd like to call up to the podium Mr. Rich Furst for our next inductee, Amber Passalaqua.
Thank you, Ed. So the Bushmen are well represented today. Our next inductee was on the Pine Bush team from, well, I first noticed her as an opposing coach in 2008. This girl, Amber Passalaqua, had three things that any standout athlete needs. One, she had desire. Two, she had reckless abandon, and she showed us that too many times. And three, she was selfless. She would run. She ran for her team. She got nicknames from her team. One of them was Diesel. One of them was the closer, and I witnessed that too many times as coaching at Warwick, watching this girl who was running third leg. We called it a double anchor. But if you saw Amber Passalaqua run, she caught your eye, strong, giant stride, and she could run down basically anybody. One time I remember thinking, we got this. And next thing you know, there she was. She ran a 56.9 leg, third leg on a relay. But that's not why she's being inducted into our Hall of Fame. Coach Przbaki noticed her, a volunteer at Pine Bush. She could do anything. So he trained her to be a pentathlete. And in 2009, she outperformed everybody in the state in the pentathlon. And then she did it again in 2010. She's a two-time state champion in the pentathlon. She currently holds our Section 9 pentathlon record, scoring 3,319 points. And that record is held for, well, you do the math. It's a good 15 years. So, and the record that she broke had stood for, well, it was set before she was born. It was set by a girl from Wallkill named Karen Kelly in like 1989. So since 1989, there's only been one person that's outperformed Kelly, and it was Amber Passalaqua. Now, and here's, now Amber Sherlock, and this is the award. So Amber could not be with us today. She's in Colorado or maybe Wyoming. She's somewhere out there. Hopefully she's getting a view. She's on Zoom. Oh, hi Amber, congratulations. This will be in the mail soon. Thank you.
So just since Amber is watching from Colorado, I believe, because that's where she is with her family, her plaque and her award reads the 2008 4x400 meter state champions with a time of 3:54.37. She was the third leg at 56.9. 2009 pentathlete state champion, 33:19 section 9 record. 2010 state champion, 33:04. And I have to give a nice shout out because she also went to Syracuse, which is my alma mater, so congratulations, and let's give it up once again for our inductee, Amber Passalaqua Sherlock. And we'll move on to our next inductee. All right, so next up, we're going to invite up Aunt Gregory to introduce our next inductee, Emily Waligurski.
Before I introduce Emily, I just wanted to mention with Carol Okoren. So when I came into the M-Hall League, Carol was one of the few female coaches in the track and field at that time, and I came in, I think, as the second female track and field coach. So I really looked to Carol as being that role model there. So and for those that don't know, Carol has passed away. That's why she is not at this competition. So. The other quick thing I want to say is that this is my second year as a board member with Greg Rafferty. I just really want to acknowledge that core group of board people. Like, they put this banquet on. Greg and I just kind of do what we're told because we don't quite get the whole realm of it yet, but they do a fantastic job of the tickets, of just organizing, of all your names. So just thanks, both Greg and I want to thank you guys for teaching us a little bit here. So Emily Waligurski graduated from Ontario High School in 2013. I asked her what got her interested in running, and she said she mentioned in elementary school she was beating everybody in the 800 mile, and just in the school competitions. But she just stayed with soccer and gymnastics. And if you know where Emily lives, is way on a back road. She had a trampoline there that she spent a lot of time on. It wasn't until later in middle school and high school that she got interested and took running more seriously. And we live in a beautiful area up there. She trained in her favorite spots at the Ashokan Reservoir Field Campus, and we have all those beautiful reservoirs to run around, so she spent a lot of time there. As you can see from her bio, she was a force in the M-Hall in all three, cross-country, indoor, and outdoor. Every now and then in the M-Hall, we get a runner that just energizes the whole field. Like, they see this runner and they want to be like this runner, and Emily was one of those, right? You need to see someone to motivate yourself, and she was that for so many people. She was looked upon by her teammates, but the coaches and running community that surrounded her also really recognized and appreciated her efforts of just trying to make our league stronger. As you can read, she had an outstanding college career, and she continues to be very active in post-collegiate running. She lives in Chicago now, is getting her doctorate degree in microbiology. And she also spends some time volunteering for clubs in Chicago. Impressively, Emily qualified for the 2020 Marathon Olympic Trials. She's presently on her way to competing in the Abad Major Marathon Series. She's done the Boston and Chicago, and she's slated to run the Berlin Marathon this coming September. So it's so great to see athletes that start with us and then they just really keep it going as they're adults, right? So that's what this sport, all these sports are all about. So I told Emily that these coaches and officials that have been here for years have tons of things to say when they come up to accept their awards, but as a new athlete, you do not have to be as lengthy as they were, so don't panic about if you only have a few sentences to say for a thank you. So Emily, please come on up.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, everyone, for, I guess, allowing me to be an inductee with some other really awesome people. A special thank you to Coach Burkhardt for telling me to quit soccer and do cross country, and everything took off from there. So really grateful to be a part of Section 9, and also, as Anne said, other coaches also. Like, I felt very welcome to be a part of running in Section 9, and I felt the support from others as well. So thank you.
For Emily, that'll go up over to Aniora High School. It says, Emily Waligurski, 3,000 meter D2 state champion in 2011 with a time of 9:55.84. 800 meter D2 state champion 2012 with a time of 2:13.60. And 1,500 meter state champion for 2012 for 4:33.51. Our new inductee, Emily Waligurski from Aniora. Awesome job. Next up, we'd like to invite up to the podium Kim Goldhirsch, who's going to introduce our next inductee, Grace Weisbecker.
Thank you all for having me this afternoon. Greg Rafferty. This is funny, if you know Greg Rafferty. He called me to tell me that I needed to keep this short. That's funny. My introduction for Grace Weisbecker is going to start on a chilly Saturday morning, as many of our seasons start each year. It was 2010, and Coach Rafferty and I were having a conversation with the parents of two of our new freshmen. And that conversation came to fruition with us commenting on what incredible natural talent Grace was showing in her races that morning. And her parents told us they weren't that surprised, because when she would run around on the playground during recess, and when she was even younger than that, she would beat all the boys and girls at the races and play tag. Nobody wanted to play tag with Grace because she was bounding over things and under things, and you couldn't get away, and you couldn't catch her either. So that started the conversation, and I wonder if her parents ever dreamt, as they were watching her on the playground, of all the things she would accomplish in track and field. One of my favorite memories of Grace, and there were a lot during her career as a Raider, I believe I recall it happening in Kingston. Grace was flying down the high hurdles. She soared over those hurdles. And on this particular day, as she hit the 10th hurdle, she hit the 10th hurdle. And you could hear an audible gasp in the stadium as she went down, and you recognized that this incredible athlete could get hurt, but not Grace, because although she came up a little bruised and bloody, what she really did was she folded herself into a tiny ball, stayed in her lane, and did 2 perfect forward rolls, landing on her feet as she crossed the finish line that day. And with a big smile on her face, she turned and gave a thumbs up that she was okay. And then she ran off to do the pole vault. She showed a lot of heart that day, as she did in all her races. In high school, Grace held many school records. She beat records that were held for decades in the high hurdles, the 200, the intermediate hurdles, and her love, the pole vault. When I convert her fully automated times and compare them to hand times, she would also have held records in the 100 and the 400 at that time. 2013 was an incredible year for the MHAL, by the way. Yeah. Grace went 3 consecutive years to the New York State Track and Field Championship. She's competed in 5 different events throughout those years and stood on the podium 4 times. So she was incredible. Her first place finish in the New York State Track and Field meet came in the pole vault. She was the #1 person in New York that year, 2013, at 12 feet 3 inches. Grace went on to compete Division I, University of Vermont, primarily as a pole vaulter and a hurdler. Her awards and honors there include 8-time America East All-Conference in the pole vault, all of her years in college. 3-time America East Conference champion in the pole vault. She was the American East All-Conference in high hurdles. She holds the record in the pole vault at 12 feet 9.5 inches, and in the high hurdles, 14.3 was her personal record. She was all New England for 6 seasons, and I believe continues to hold the University of Vermont school records in the indoor pole vault, the outdoor pole vault, and she is the 2nd all-time finisher in the 100-meter hurdles. It is my honor to introduce to you Grace Weisbecker Yuska.
Thank you so much for having me and inducting me into the Hall of Fame. It's been a whirlwind, and I'm still kind of in shock that this is happening, but I wanted to thank all of you for selecting me to be part of this inductee class. Thank you to Coach Goldhirsch, to Coach Rafferty, to Coach Saint, who helped me become not a terrifying flying thing in pole vault. To my parents for driving to every single meet, every single practice, to my sister for always braiding my hair before every meet, and to all of my teammates, everybody here, thank you.
For those of you who really don't understand the pole vault at all, I couldn't think of a better description than what she just gave than the terrifying flying thing. And for Grace's plaque, which will be headed up to Red Hook and Red Hook High School, Red Hook High School Hall of Fame inductee 2025, Grace Weisbecker, 2012, first pole vault, 11 feet 3 inches, state champion 2013 pole vault, 12 feet 3 inches. So congratulations once again for our inductee, Grace Weisbecker.
Year 1977, Coach Al Schmidt for Pine Bush. I competed for Suffern High School, which was part of Section 9. And of course, Mike White was a legendary person. Everybody knew who Mike White was. Everybody on my team did. Back in the late 70s, they were just some phenomenal athletes. And I'll give you an example of the competitors that Mike had to run against. We had 2 great hurdlers from Suffern, Myron Diaz and Dave Benjamin. Nyack had Shelton Whitley. Across the river, there was a guy named Art Monk. If you ever heard of him, Google him. And down in Jersey, not far away, was Ronaldo Nehemiah. So it was just a legendary time to be a hurdler, and Mike excelled. He was a fierce competitor. And everybody knew who he was. I know Mike going back 50 years. I've known him as a coach for almost 40 years. As a coach, his teams have always excelled. He's a great coach. He's a great family man. His family is here. It's really my privilege to count him as one of my friends and peers and as a coach. And it's my honor to induct him into the Section 9 Hall of Fame. Before I start, I'd like everybody to look in the booklet, and there's only 2 pictures there that are in black and white. Mine and Al Schmidt's. I'm not sure what that's telling everybody, but that's, even Bill Rule is in color. Good afternoon, and I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. It is an honor to share this event with you. Thank you again. I'll give you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a scrawny boy from the Bronx who moved to Washington when he was 9 years old. Not long after that, his dad passed away, and he was left in the care of his aunt and uncle. It was a confusing and unhappy time. He buried himself in sports. To cope, he played CYO basketball, Little League baseball, and pickup football with the neighborhood friends. In junior high, he ran cross country and track. It was on a track team where something happened that would change the course of his life. His coach looked him right in the eye and said, "You are too short to be a hurdler." What a positive thing. As you probably guessed, that boy was me. And he was right. I was too short. But I was also stubborn. And in that moment, I decided that I was a hurdler. Period. In high school, I played freshman football and ran track. But by the end of my season, Coach Jessup convinced me that the best thing I could do for my future on the track was to trade football for cross country. He was, of course, right, and I trusted him completely. That decision led to my sophomore breakout season. I surprised everyone, including myself, by finishing 3rd in the 300 in New York State championships. At that meet, at the end of the race, Coach Jessup ran up to me, hugged me, and said, "Great job, son." It had been over 5 years since I heard someone call me son. It left an indelible mark on me. Running became the most important thing in my life, and I put everything into making Coach Jessup proud. Again, I want to mention a couple of highlights of my senior year. Standing on the podium at the state, receiving a silver medal in intermediate hurdles, and anchoring the first ever team from Washingtonville to compete at the Penn Relays to victory. The roar of that enormous crowd was something I'll never forget. Usually running in front of 10 people, now you go to Penn Relays, you're running in front of 25,000 people. It was amazing. My coaches, Art Jessup and Tony Martelli. Tony, can you stand up for a minute? Tony Martelli. They built the program by showing us what it means to be all in. They did things like pick us up at home at 4:30 in the morning in their own cars to drive us to a meet in Rhode Island. We ran to school in the morning and they would cook breakfast on a hot plate in the locker room. Think about how sanitary that was. They built a culture of excellence and a team that became family. We acknowledge Tony, but I also want to acknowledge Judy Jessup, everybody. This is Art's wife, Judy. Without her support, Art would never done the things that she did. We thank you, Judy. I believe that's why the highlights for me will always be the team accomplishments. Bringing home the first ever OCIA and sectional titles for Watsonville meant a lot to me because I knew how much our coaches wanted and deserved those titles. When I was a senior, Coach Jessup guided me through the college recruitment and application process, helping me to secure a full scholarship to Rutgers University. I became the first generation in my family to attend and graduate from college. I'm a fortunate man and I have a very blessed life. I can say without question that everything good in my life is a result of my single-minded drive to excel as a runner. The college education I received led to a strong special education teacher background and an even longer career as a track and cross-country coach.
These roles have allowed me to give back to my community that built me. I met my wife Robin on the track team, and although we have different versions of what transpired in a high school relationship, which you know I was right, let's just say all well that ends well, because we recently celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary. I have a family that is, thank you. I have a family that is beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. Each one of them are here. Can you stand up, everybody? I have Michael, Jamie, Nicholas, Jeremy, and Christiana. I was able to coach each of them through their youth sport activities as well as through high school. I was blessed to have them each and every day after school, coaching them in cross-country, indoor and outdoor track, each one of them, which gave us 20 years of that. I know I can speak for my wife as well when I say that seeing our kids compete in Wizard Blue and Gold was something that made us especially happy. Wizard Blue and Gold, everybody. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for this honor. I only wish that Coach Jessup were here beside me because I know what it would mean to him. My gratitude to the coaches, Mr. Jessup, Mr. Martelli, is immeasurable. Thank you also to my Wizard teammates. We didn't know it then, but we were establishing the tradition of Washingtonville excellence that lives on to this day. I thank God for every experience and each person He placed in my life, every mile I ran, every bit of effort I put forth, and every drop of sweat has paid off thousandfold in the life I've had the privilege to live. Thank you all again for this honor. Thank you.
Now, Mike, I know Robin serves proudly as part of the Washingtonville School Board, and I sit on Middletown, so I challenge that statement. I think Robin's the one. And as you guys look through Mike's bio and the pamphlet, what's amazing here is when he left Washingtonville, he had 11 school records, and there's still one 50 years later that is still a Washingtonville record. So that's an amazing feat. Given the improved track conditions and track surfaces and the new technology, and his record is still standing strong 50 years later. That is amazing. Congratulations, Mike Wright, our newest inductee into the Hall of Fame. And next up, Ryan, if you can come on up and introduce our next inductee, Adam Mires.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to everybody, and thank you all for being here today. Coach Schmidt basically stole my speech, but I can't get mad at Coach Schmidt. He's a big guy. I literally saw him lift an entire relay team up once. I mean, he just grabbed both four guys and hoisted them in there, so don't make that man angry. I've been involved in track and field for over 40 years, and Adam's performance at the county meet in 1998, it's 1998, right? At the Cornwall track, very, very hot that day, was one of the most outstanding performances I've ever seen in 4 years of track and field. I remember it was fantastic. I was cheering against you most of the time because I am a distance coach, but it was very, very hard to not appreciate what you did that day. And I don't do it very often. After the meet, and I don't even remember, I went and found you and congratulated you on your day. I'm kind of a jerk, I don't do that very often. So it was fantastic. So without further ado, let's bring Adam up here and let him tell you about himself. Adam, congratulations.
Thank you for this honor. Well, first, thank you and congratulations to all the other inductees, past, present. There's a lot of coaches in this room that had a very large influence on my life and in my career, some with Pine Bush, some without. I could always tell how well I did in a race before I even saw the time. It's how quickly I got tackled by Coach Schmidt or Coach Salvatore or sometimes coach St. Lawrence, depending on the race. That's how I really knew what I was doing was above and beyond. I never had any expectations for myself in track. I only joined track because I was born in the spring. I'm a soccer player. Still consider myself a soccer player. But track brought me to places that I wouldn't have gone otherwise. And when Coach Sal brought this up to me, my first response was I didn't know there was a Section 9 Track Hall of Fame. And then my second response was that I don't deserve this. This is, there are far better athletes and runners and coaches that deserve this more, but he really cared, and so did Coach Schmidt, and I owe it all to them. So thank you very much, and I appreciate that.
Congratulations to Adam. The plaque, his section of the Pine Bush High School plaque reads 10-time cross-county champion, 8-time Section 9 champion, 800 meters, 1,600 meters, 3,200 meters, 4x800 meters, and the 1998 5th New York State 1,600 meter at 4:16:15, and also a gentleman whose record at Pine Bush still holds 30 years later. So congratulations once again, our newest inductee, Adam Mires. Back up to the mic, Mr. Glover, to introduce our next inductee, Matt Diglio.
Matt Diglio. As a high school athlete, Matt had all the hallmarks of our greatest athletes at Monroe and Berkeley. He would listen to their coaches, do what they told him to do, mostly Coach Hall. He was a student of his sport. He knew his competition, he knew his events, he studied them, he was knowledgeable, and he put that to use. He took the direction. Matt was competent from the 200 meters to the 5,000 meters. He had such a range. We would use him in the 200 meters in the section championships, and he'd come back running 800 and the 4x4 and whatnot, and never complained about where we put him or what we wanted. He gave his all the time. Of all the athletes that I've been privileged to help coach, his determination of finding the finish line was unsurpassed. His influence on the rest of our team was quite significant. He was a quiet leader, led by example. In the sprinting world, he motivated our other quarter milers to work hard because they wanted to be on the relay team with Matt on the anchor leg, because they knew they'd be coming home with a medal all the time. His senior year at the county championships, Coach Hall had to go to a graduation, one of the very rare instances where he was not going to be at the meet. And I said, Coach, what do you want me to do with your kids? He goes, don't worry about it. Diglio's got it. He's in charge. And that freed me up to deal with all the crazy sprinters and jumpers and everybody else that I had to coach, and he kept that team together, made sure they warmed up on time, they were at their random time, they knew what they did, he motivated them, he did everything Coach Hall did, and he did it well. Now I'm so proud that he's gone on to become a very successful coach at Haddon Killingworth High School in Connecticut. His teams are always well coached. He cares about his kids. You can tell he likes to go out of state to find better competition. And he's an excellent coach. I'm very privileged to have a small piece of his upbringing as an athlete and a coach, and it's my privilege to induct Matt Diglio into the Friends of Section 9 Hall of Fame.
an introduction. Thank you, Coach Glover. Although I do disagree with one thing, running the 5,000 was not on my list of events, so that was not a good thing for me. I gotta admit, I do feel a little pressure standing up here, a little nerves, kind of like a relay. Those inductees who were before me did such a great job speaking. I kind of feel the pressure. This is now the baton. I got to make sure not to drop it, make sure not to bomb. I know the Middletown relays are over there, so I feel confident in them anchoring, but I will try to do my best to follow those in front of me. I've been coaching cross-country and track in Connecticut for about 25 years now, and over those years I've had the privilege of being at a lot of these banquet and award ceremonies. And each year I try to sit with my current athletes and current team members, and every year that I'm sitting with them, there's someone speaker up here or someone getting inducted to Hall of Fame or getting honored, and I can honestly tell you not once in all those years has any of my athletes turned to me and said, "Coach, I really wish that old guy up there would talk for a lot longer." So I am that old guy up here now, so I will try to keep my comments brief. I want to start off by thanking the Section 9 Hall of Fame committee for voting me in. I also want to thank Coach Glover and Coach Matt Hemmer, one of my teammates at Woodbury, for nominating me. It was last spring when Coach Glover gave me a call, and he's never called me before in his life. So the phone rang. I thought it was a butt dial, so I didn't pick up. That was followed by a text shortly thereafter saying, "Please give me a call." And for whatever reason, I immediately thought, uh-oh, something must be wrong. Something happened to one of my former teammates or one of my former coaches. So I was a little nervous calling him back, and I can't tell if I was more glad that everyone was okay, or shocked and in awe that when he told me the news I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I was very honored to receive it, and I started thinking about, when he told me I had to make a speech, I started thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say up here? I didn't think I was deserving to be up here, and I thought about it for a few days, and then it was the end of the school year. And as a teacher, I started thinking about the end of the school year and then the spring track. And then the summer came, and as you teachers and coaches know, you don't think about anything during the summer, so I forgot about this. The start of this school year, didn't think about it. I started coaching cross country. Even up to this week, I was trying to get my team ready for the state championship meet, which was yesterday. I forgot about the speech up until a couple days ago. My wife said, "Hey, how's that speech going?" And I panicked. So, as a high school teacher and coach and someone who works with teenagers on a daily basis, I did what any teenager would do. I asked ChatGPT to write me a speech. And although the speech was very eloquent and well written, it was not me. It was not personal, it was not me, so I started panicking again. And I thought back to what one of my coaching mentors, someone who I had the privilege of coaching with for many years, said when he got inducted to the Coaching Hall of Fame in Connecticut a while back. He said, anytime you receive an award like this, it means two things. Two very important things. The first one, it means if you get inducted to a Hall of Fame or something like this, is that you're old. And as my lack of hair can attest, that is certainly the case with me. I attended Woodbury High School from 1992 to 1996, which means that this spring it'll be 30 years since I graduated high school. The second reason, the most important one, he told me that you get an honor, receive an honor like this, is because you were surrounded by people who cared for you, who supported you and helped get you to where you are. And that is without a doubt the case for me, and what I wanted to spend a few moments talking about this afternoon. I was extremely fortunate to be part of teams and programs at Woodbury that were always competing for a county and sectional championship every season and every year. I was part of a team that had tradition of excellence, and when you were in high school at Woodbury, you knew the tradition that came before you. You tried to add to that tradition and leave it in a little better place than it was when you left and be a part of that program. And that was a direct result of the coaches that we had. Coach Glover, who is here today, Coach Bob Zucker, and of course the legendary Coach Lou Hall over there. And quick note, I just had to scribble this down. When we came in today and I introduced my kids to Coach Hall, my daughter turned to me and she's like, "Is that the guy who used to curse and yell at you when you were in high school?" And those of you know Coach Hall. These coaches created a program and a culture at Woodbury that lasted for decades. I would not have been the runner I was in high school without them. I would not be the person I am without them and their impact upon me. In fact, so much so that I followed in their footsteps to become a teacher and a coach. So I want to thank all my coaches, the two who are here, and obviously Coach Zucker, who is not able to be here. In addition to my coaches, I could not have had better teammates when I was in high school, my 4 years at Woodbury. We were a tight-knit group of boys and girls that not only pushed each other on the track, but were best friends off the track, spending countless hours together as friends and as teammates. Teammates such as Pete Piscarlo, Matt Hemmer, John Noldecken, Kevin Chanowski, Brian McKnight, Julianne Lippman, Denise Esterman, to name just a few, who are still to this day some of my best friends and people I share this common bond with from our high school experiences. Out of all of my accomplishments in high school and college, I can without a doubt say the most important one to me was the one I shared with my teammates. When back in 1995 we were able to win the state championship in the 4x8 relay because I was able to share it with my best friends. So I want to thank my teammates as well. I, of course, want to thank my family. My mom and dad who are here today, my older sister Kristen, and my older brother Brian, who's also here this afternoon. As kids and as teenagers growing up, I don't think you realize the sacrifice that your parents make for you. It's not until you become a parent that you kind of realize everything that your parents did for you when you were growing up and back in the day. And that is certainly the case for me. I want to thank my mom for coming to all of my meets and games and races over the years. She was always there cheering and supporting me, sometimes obnoxiously loud, but she was always there cheering for me every race I ran. I want to thank my dad, who was a track coach at Clarkstown North for over 30 years, who instilled in me the passion and love for running, but never pushed me or never coached me himself. He allowed my coaches to coach me, and he was simply my dad. First one to hug me after a good race, first one to support me during my struggles, and as someone who I try to emulate as a dad to my own kids. I want to thank my brother Brian, who is also here today. He's always been a role model for me growing up, someone who I always wanted to be like and emulate. I can still remember watching over and over the old VHS tapes, and for those of you who are too young, Google what a VHS tape is, of him running the 800 at the New York State Championship meet during his senior year of high school back in 1989, and watching him finish in 6th place running 155. And watching that video motivated me, because I always wanted to just be like him. But not just be like him, I want to be better than him. So my goal was to run the 800 just like him. I want to make the New York State meet. I want to run faster than a 155, and I want to win the New York State meet. Well, fast forward some years later, I was an 800 runner. I did run into state championships. I did run faster than him, but I did not win the state championship. I placed second. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but he's always been a role model, and I want to thank you for being a role model for me and still one of my best friends. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank the 3 people who had absolutely nothing to do with my high school accomplishments back in the day. They are my current teammates, my coaches, my role models each and every day. I want to thank my son Landon, who's one of the kindest and thoughtful kids that I know, and who constantly reminds me that he's going to be taller and stronger than me and faster when he gets a little bit older. I want to thank my daughter Kaylin, who is the hardest working, most driven young lady that I've ever known. And she constantly reminds me how she's the only one in the family, unlike her uncle and her dad, who has won a state championship. As she was a pole vault state champion, coached by Coach St. Lawrence. As she was a pole vault, just a freshman, she was a pole vault state champion in Connecticut last year. Give her a round of applause. Yeah, there you go. And last but not least, I want to thank my wife Jamie, who, unlike Coach White and his wife, did not meet on a track. She hates running. She knew nothing about track and field and cross country before she met me. And although she still probably hates running, she has supported me in my passion for coaching over the past 25 years, and I'm extremely lucky to have her by my side and supporting me over all these years. So, thank you once again to the committee for inducting me to the Hall of Fame. Thank you to my coaches, my teammates, and my family, and thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Next up, I invite Dave Goggins to come on back and introduce our next inductee, Mr. Rob Dickover. Just to tell you a little bit about what Matt's plaque that'll go up to Monroe Woodbury High School, how it reads. Monroe Woodbury High School Hall of Fame inductees 2025, Matt Diglio, 800 meters, All-America, 800 in 1996 with a time of 150-171, OCI AA indoor track champion, 1996, 300 meters, 36.5, 600 meters, 126 even, the 1K, 239.3, 1996, 400 meters school record at 47.4, 500 meters, 104.89, and 600 meters, 122. So this will go down to Monroe Woodbury High School.
Well, I don't have this written down, but I just realized talking to Rob Dickover that he was pivotal in developing this organization and giving it its legal framework on which to stand, and I didn't realize that this is the first induction ceremony that he's been to. So thank you for getting this started, and I hope you find it satisfying. I'm sure that there was a time that I did not know of Rob Dickover, or know him, but I can't remember when. I worked with his sister Kate since the late 70s. Rob was always around the running community, involved with race directing, and was one of the founders and organizers of the Hamiltonian Marathon. And yet, no task was too small for him to help with. He would be there the night before each Orange Classic, putting signs on doorknobs along the route, warning homeowners of the need to plan for road closures. Even though Rob has since retired and moved from our community, his work here lives on. The reflective bibs and flags from the Hamiltonian Marathon were used this morning by the course marshals in the Fearless 5K fundraising run over at the airport. And several years ago, Rob arranged for the proceeds of the Hamiltonian to be turned over to the Hall of Fame to benefit future track and field athletes. So it was natural, when we needed help from an attorney to draft our incorporation papers and bylaws, Rob was the first person we turned to. And he enthusiastically volunteered to do the legal work pro bono. He wrote the framework for how we operate, which has endured for the past 10 years and will carry us forward into the foreseeable future with our mission to honor outstanding former athletes, coaches, and officials in high school track and field in Section 9, whose participation shall have brought fame and recognition to themselves, their school, and Section 9, which is our mission statement. As a special contributor to this mission, it is my pleasure to present Rob Dickover for induction into the Friends of Section 9 Track and Field Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Lucky for you, Dave did not tell me I had to make a speech tonight. Because one thing that you don't do is give a lawyer an open microphone. So my wife, when she found out a few moments ago that I was going to give a speech, she said, keep it short. So I will. My involvement as an athlete would never allow me to stand here with the tremendous athletes that are here tonight. Yes, I was an athlete, but never of the quality that we have here this evening. Knowing that, I wanted to make a contribution that might allow others to enjoy what I enjoyed, which was road racing. And so in 1985, with the help of Frank Giannino, Richie Furst, his brother, I got involved in the Goshen Great America, what is now known as the Goshen Great America Weekend. And I was the race director there for in name or in shadow for 26 years. And the reason I did that was to allow a venue to create an event that would allow others to enjoy what I enjoyed, but more particularly for the younger people in the community to try and become acquainted with road racing and to enjoy it as much as I did. And I'm glad to say that a number of those events that I guess kept alive, I'll say, are still around today. Goshen Great American Weekend, the Orange Runners Club's Winter Series, as well as the Jingle Jog, were events that I race directed, amongst many others. So without further ado, I want to thank the committee and the board of directors for this recognition. I'm not sure it's deserved, but it's certainly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Congratulations once again, our new inductee, Mr. Rob Dickover. So, our anchor leg this afternoon is Middletown's 2011 4x400 meter relay team. This one's special to me. I'm going to ask Coach Hipsman to come on up from the Middletown track team and Coach Lindsay as well. They're going to tell you the stories behind the story of this infamous year at Middletown in 2011, where the track team was crowned national champions with a race that's amazing. If you ever go on YouTube and you take a look at this race, that was stacked with people from all over the country in different states, from Thornwood of Illinois, I think was the team that finished up second that year. We only have one of our members and a family member of one of our other runners with us this afternoon. Travel arrangements became really difficult for some of the others. This team was inducted into the Middletown Wall of Fame a month ago. Many of them live from far reaches, so it was difficult to come back twice within a month for getting the honors. But I do believe that Shakoy, who is here this afternoon, is probably coming from the farthest reaches. So he came from Arizona today to be with all of us to accept the award on behalf of his teammates as well. And what's amazing about this race, Coach is going to tell you a little bit about that year that they went through, but if you ever watch this race at the very end, I think they must have been at least 50 meters behind going into the anchor. Am I right? About 50 meters, and they overtook, and they were nowhere in sight. They were never mentioned by the live streamer who was doing and the public address announcer in North Carolina at the time, until literally the last 150 meters of the race, where all of a sudden you hear the announcer hesitate, trying to figure out who is this team that's coming back, and all of a sudden he just yells out, "Middletown, New York," around the corner. But it was an amazing race that Middletown ended up taking the national championship with 6 amazing individuals in Shakoy Burton, Mel Mosley, Manny Mosley, Webb Pierre, Adam Abdur-Rahman, and Darren Brown. When they come up for the awards, I'm going to ask Mr. and Mrs. Brown to come up. They're here to accept on behalf of their son Darren as well. So I'm going to hand it off to the more important people of tonight, as many of you are coaches, Coach Hipsman.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. I don't have much to say now. Mr. Estrada pretty much just said everything. So, no, I did write down a few stats. I didn't know that I was going to be speaking, so I did write a few stats. I can read some of them, but to really understand, Mr. Estrada's favorite moment is that 4x4 team, but our 4x1 and our sprint medley were also phenomenal, and all 6 guys contributed that year to that team. But these are just some of the stats we had that year. We had 5 guys under 50 as a relay split, which was a nice problem to have. Our top guy ran a 46.88 in the open and went 46.22 in that 4x4 anchor. We had 2 guys in the 53s in the 400 hurdles. We had a 14.09 110 hurdler. We had 3 guys sub 22.25 in the 200. We had a 55 runner 6.54. We had 3 guys low 35s in the 300. We had a 118 600 meter runner, and we also, the 600 meter runner also high jump 6 feet 10 inches just for fun. So must be nice to be an athlete, you know. I have to live through them. They had 21 school records at the time, 13 of which are still held by these gentlemen. Every once in a while I'll talk to Matt Hemmer, Coach Monroe, and he always brings up the greatest dual meet in the history of dual meets. It was us in Monroe, and I think you had to break 49.5 to take top 3 in the 400, and it came down to the 4x4, and I'll end it there because I don't want to say what happened, but that dual meet was a lot of fun. It was at Monroe. You know, typically dual meets aren't as intense, but that one was, and that was a fond memory. They had multiple section championships, multiple county championships. They were the Milrose Games champions, multiple All-American, the national championship in the 4x4. They are inducted in the Middletown Hall of Fame, and that year Mile Split does rankings based on times, and they were ranked number 1 in New York State and number 4 in the US, and that was just those 6 guys that carried that team to those rankings. The one thing I do want to bring up is the adversity that they fought all year. It was not a smooth year. Sometimes when you see teams succeeding, you look at them, you're like, oh, everything must be going great, and they make it look easy, and they're phenomenal athletes. But we had a lot of adversity that year. We were still young coaches. We got beat indoor states in the 4x4. Hammer and I, shamefully acted like babies up at Cornell because we thought we could win that, and we had to self-reflect on the bus ride home that day. Going into nationals, we had another gentleman that wasn't on the relay, or one of these 6 guys that stole some cookies off of a janitor's cart, and these 6 guys wouldn't rat that guy out, so we canceled nationals. So they weren't able to go to nationals on that. We had a young man that had to attend a funeral. There was an athlete in Monroe Woodbury that died that year, and one of our guys attended the funeral during Milrose trials. So as I mentioned, we had 5 guys that could break 50. Another guy stepped in, was able to make Milrose. That guy came back and was able to run at Milrose games, and they were able to win it. The state meet outdoors, we infamously had bed bugs the night before, and we had to navigate through that and find another. I know Coach Schmidt, he was there at that hotel, and we talked the next day. Our 400 runner, Mel Mosley, again, won the state title in the 400, but was annoyed at the time. He ran a slow time of 47:52 or something, and he was pouting in the back, and Coach Hammer had to grab his arm and tell him to do an interview with the reporter. Manny Mosley's brother was DQ'd. He won the state title in the 400 hurdles, but was DQ'd for hooking. Adam clipped the hurdle in the 110 finals and took 7th and didn't place. So that was on-track adversity. These 6 gentlemen all had at-home adversity and school adversity that they battled through from freshman year on. Just stuff that most people would have gave up and went a different direction. And these 6 gentlemen banded together and became one of the greatest teams in Middletown history. So the last thing I'm going to say is that 4x4 nationals, Coach Hammer had a saying, I don't know if Shakoy remembers it, but the saying was, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That was the race. Her race strategy for 400 runners has always been, it's not about the start, it's about the finish. And if you have watched that race, that's exactly what it was. Miami Northwestern had 2 guys go to the NFL. They were running in that heat. They were the favorites, they were out. And every leg caught up the last 200 meters. Every leg caught up. We'd get beat by 50, 60 meters, we'd catch up. 50, 60 meters, we'd catch up. And then the last anchor leg, Mel went out and ran the low 46 to catch them at the end and win the national title. And you can see at the end of celebrating, we were very surprised. But that was a microcosm of our year. It's not how we started, it's how we finished. And so these 6 gentlemen hold a special place in our heart and in Middletown's heart, Section 9 track's heart. Along the adversity lines, you can see an empty table over there. 4 of our guys continue to battle some adversity, nothing major, just travel arrangements, planes being delayed. Apparently when you have kids, things come up last minute. So they were unable to make it, but we do have 2, a member of the team and a representative from the team. So Shakoy Burton and Mr. and Mrs. Brown.
So I was asked to introduce the team, but there was no way that I can portray to you the adversities that the team went throughout the year than from the coach. So congratulations to Shakoy Burton. He's going to represent the team, say a couple of words. I'm going to have Mr. Brown say a couple of words too, because just as important of our athletes getting all these accolades are the families behind them, right? The parents, where they're taking them to and from track meets. My dad, in 4 years that I ran track, and I was fortunate enough to have a record at Middletown in one of the relays for 15 years. My dad never went to one of my track meets because he had to work every day during that time frame. So those are the things, especially for folks in Middleton, that we understand about. So I'm going to have both of them say a couple of words for you.
How's everybody doing today? First off, I just want to say thank you to everybody who Senior and Mama Hipsman, who supported us through the whole process. I remember as a team, we just talked about, you know, being champions and being national champions, state champions, and JR sat down with us and said one day, how do you guys actually want to be remembered? And we all got together and said we want to win titles, we want to be champions, we want to win nationals, we want to win states. And right then and there they said, all right, let's get to work, and that's what we did. I don't think it's anything more special to be able to run with 3 best friends and 2 family members. I think that's a unique story. So I'm super proud to be up here to represent them and just honor them, honor the coaches, all the work they put in behind the scenes. A lot of people don't see that. So it's just truly an honor to be up here. But to sum it all up, you know, we wanted the title, we got the title, and this is how we would like to be remembered. So thank you guys, thank you everybody.
Thank you for everybody for being here. I'm Darren Brown. I'm representing my son, Darren Brown. This is my wife, Lindsay. I just wanted to say quickly, these guys came together in high school and became a family. Junior and Hammer are the reason that they did what they did. They became one. They put away all their adversities. They're still friends to this day. They are great men. I'm extremely proud of them. I don't have much to say except to thank you, God, for what you did for them and for Junior and Hammer coming to their life and making them the men they are. So once again, thank you to everybody.
We were talking before this young man, because we went to school around the same period of time. We call him bionic man, they call him at home. 2 knee replacements, 2 shoulder or 1 shoulder? 1 shoulder replacement and a hip replacement, so God bless. So the plaque for Middletown as they head on over, Coach Hammer, Coach Hipsman, and the family, if you guys want to go on over. And individually, I'll mention each of their names: Darren Brown, Mel Mosley, Pierre, Manny Mosley, Abdur-Rahman, and of course Shakoy Burton. And their plaque that'll go over to Middletown High School, Hall of Fame Inductees 2025, the 2011 4x400 meter team state and national champions with a time of 3:13.71. Shakoy Burton ran a leg of 49.26. Mel Mosley 46.22. That was the one that won the national championship. Manny Mosley at 48.83. Pierre at 49.34. Abdur-Rahman 49.34. And in the nationals, the 2011 800 meter sprint medley relay 131.88. Darren Brown at 10.62. Pierre at 10.58. Manny Mosley 22.94. And Mel Mosley at 46.33. Your inductees for the Section 9 Hall of Fame. I should say National Hall of Fame too, probably. So awesome, John. So let's hear it once again, folks, for all of our inductees this afternoon. Stand up. They deserve a standing ovation, not just an applause. Congratulations. Hard work, well earned. So what we'll do now is Gus is going around for one final call for our 2020. While he does that, Wendy Warnock will come on up and introduce or give you the information regarding our scholarships.
In a booklet in the back, part of our mission is to help athletes as they prepare for college and move on to the next stage of their life. Hold on, guys. I'm not done yet. They gotta get their tickets. They think they're getting the winning one. I've already bought it. anyway. So part of our mission, and Jim is going to speak more to some of the things that we do, not just inducting these awesome athletes and contributors and coaches and officials into our Hall of Fame. The scholarship portion, we've had the wonderful privilege to be the recipient of a large donation 2 years ago now. A former runner of Art Jessup's gave a large endowment, so we are able to this year give 3 $2,000 scholarships. Our recipients, the first was John Post from Walk Hill Schools. He's going on to SUNY Cobleskill to study diesel mechanics, and he'll continue throwing. He's a shot putter, discus thrower. Jaden Bryan from Middletown. Middletown has been one of our recipients numerous years in a row, but Jaden is, where did he say? He's going on, he's at Dominican. He's at Dominican now, continuing his educational and athletic career. And then our third is Caitlin Smith from Sullivan West, and she's at Misericordia studying physical therapy, and she is a hurdler as well, sprinter. So those are our 3 scholarship recipients for this year, and of course we wish everyone well as they continue their education and their careers. So Jim is going to talk more to some of the other mission of the Hall of Fame.
Again, a fantastic list of inductees today. Congratulations to all of them. Their speeches were remarkable. But I'd like to talk about what we do in addition to honoring Section 9's greatest track, field, and cross-country athletes. As a 501c3 organization, part of our mission is to give back to the running community. And one of the ways we do that is with our scholarship. But we also give to every one of our athletes who qualify for a state championship a t-shirt commemorating, honoring their achievement of making a state championship. We also provide medals to the Orange County JV Cross Country Championship race. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of other stuff that we still haven't discovered yet. We aim to help out Section 9 athletes in the community. Now, this has been a fantastic night, and it would not have happened without some of these people that I'd like to thank right now. First, I'd like to give a big thanks to Estrada for being the master of ceremonies. Megan and Glenn for photographing and videotaping this event. Their work was always fantastic. There will be a link to all the photos on our Friends of Section 9 Track and Field website, which is listed in the program, so please check it out. Also in the program and on the website, there's a place, if you're so inclined, would like to make a donation, and we would thank you for that. We are still working to get everybody's bios on our website, and hopefully that will happen soon, but there is a complete list of all inductees of all the 8 classes of inductees. I'd also give a shout out to our advertisers in our program. Look to the program, support those people as they support us. I would like to thank Chester Printing for helping us put the program together that really didn't come together until Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, by the time we get everything ready, and they're very accommodating and they do a great job. I love the program. I'd like to thank Steven Sanchez from SAS Guard Computing Services. As I said last year, technology is not our forte, so Steve helps us out. He stays organized to bring us into the 21st century. He has an ad there, check out his things. He's very good computer company. I'd like to thank Frank Giannino also for helping to make Steve possible to work on that stuff. And I'd like to thank the Wallkill Golf Club for providing this beautiful venue. They do weddings, all sorts of stuff, so use them if you're so inclined. And I would like to thank my fellow board members, who without them we would not be here doing this tonight. But most of all, I'd like to thank you, the supporters, for coming here and making the Inductees night so special. And thank you very much. Each year our banquet gets better and better, and we really enjoy putting it on. And as Ed said before, just remind the inductees we're going to go outside and take a group picture. And the banner's going to stay up, so if you want to get family photos after the fact, please take advantage of that. So let's have a big round of applause for everybody here today. And Gus, if you're ready. And do we have a young person who wants to... a young person like to come over and pull the winning number? And pick a winner.
Let's give a round of applause for
These numbers are small. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 8, 5. 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 8, 5. Do we have a winner? An enormous amount of money. We're not going to share how much it is. So everybody loves it. Thank you, Coach Burkhardt. We appreciate that. Well, back to Ed to close us out.
Sure, so congratulations. He donated back the winnings back to the program, so thank you for it. Before we head on out for our pictures, and even though we do have the frame up here, we ask that the inductees first go outside for the picture as the sun's starting to set a little bit, so we want to make sure we have the best amount of light. So if we can have the inductees go out to the porch as well as the directors. Before we do that, one final thing. In your program is the nomination form. If you want to nominate anybody for the Friends of Section 9 Hall of Fame, they do ask typically that you submit your nominations by the springtime to give them some opportunity to then review and select next year's class as well. So, and then my final thing is, if you've ever coached somebody, please stand up. If you are a coach, please stand up. And the reason why I ask you to stand up is because you guys have a profound impact on your athletes. For many a year, you continue to cheer on them long after they've left your programs. You know, my coach was a gentleman who was inducted a couple of years ago, the father of Eric Hipsman, Kevin Hipsman. We lost him a year later, and it's still in my heart as it is in their heart as well. But you mentioned all of our inductees who came up here, every single one of them had the word coach when they were talking about thank yous. So thank you for all that you've done. all that you are doing and all that you continue to do mentoring our young people. So give yourselves a great round of applause. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed our festivities this afternoon. Congratulations once again to the 2025 class, and please head on out for pictures and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.